This is the Urban Astronomer Podcast. So, hi, my name is Alan Farsfeld, and you're listening to a preview for the upcoming second season of the Urban Astronomer Podcast. If you are new to the show, it's my efforts at making a contribution to the South African astronomical scene. You see, I've always felt that we have something of an image problem here, despite our long astronomical history and all the advantages we have. We're geographically ideal, we've got the largest single optical telescope in the Southern Hemisphere and half of the SKA, eventually. Our government considers astronomy to be such an important field that we have laws in place specifically to protect our observing environment, and we have some of the best people in the world as well. And so what I want to do, in between explaining a bit of the science of physics and astronomy in what I hope is the most interesting and digestible way possible, is talk to those great people and introduce them to you. I want you to hear them, to see what great work they do and understand what makes them tick, both as people and as scientists. And if that sounds great to you, well, then I'd love for you to subscribe to the show. Just search for the Urban Astronomer Podcast on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or wherever you're listening to this. And if you prefer to play podcasts the old-fashioned way, you can find every single episode and their show notes at www.urban-astronomer.com. So, actually, this isn't much of a change from what we've been doing before. It's just that now we're acting a little more grown up, cleaning up after ourselves, tidying up the format, and trying to be a little more reliable in our episodes. The biggest actual change in this second season, then, is that we now have seasons. Everything is planned and recorded in advance, just like the big shows do, to guarantee that each episode comes out exactly when it's supposed to, and I'm never left making excuses or apologies for late delivery. Also, we're going to stop making transcripts available, so if you're hard of hearing, you still get to be a part of this. And as a bonus, if you're looking for a specific episode, you'll be able to Google any part of the dialogue that you recall, and you should get a useful answer. Towards the end of the last season, I got a fair bit of feedback from people saying that they loved the science explainy bits and could we please have more of those. Well, request granted. So now, in addition to the interviews with people connected to South African astronomy, we'll also have segments dedicated to answering the sorts of questions that seem obvious at first, but on second thoughts turn out to be a little more complex. Questions like, why are planets always round? Or how do orbits actually work? I'm even going to sneak in one that's a little more abstract. Dear Urban Astronomer, back in a previous episode, you said that the old idea of the universe being arranged in a series of crystal spheres arranged around the Earth made perfect sense. Please justify making such outrageous remarks. Unfortunately, there is one segment that you all said you liked, which I'm going to have to drop for a while. My co-host, Claire Munger, has always handled the space mission updates, and in fact, he had signed on to provide his own standalone episodes, which would be published alongside my own regular scheduled episodes. Unfortunately, for us and for him, he has had to step back to deal with some family responsibilities, and he won't be able to join us for a few months. I am pretty sure that you'll all join me in sending our support and wishing for the best possible outcomes. Clem, if you're listening, I hope everything works out well. We miss you, we miss your contributions, and I really hope that, things will be better and that you'll be in a position to join us again for Season 3. Good luck, man. There's one more thing I need to say that is quite important. I would like to thank my existing Patreon supporters who have very patiently waited for this new season to begin. You guys have been a rock and an inspiration, because whenever I lose motivation and consider shutting the show down, all I have to do is look at my Patreon console to be reminded that there are people out there who enjoy the show enough, who are invested enough in each episode, to send me a little bit of cash every month just to keep me going. And it's not that the money is the big motivator here, so much as knowing that there are people who want me to succeed, who want to hear more of my episodes. So thank you, all of you. And if you would like to join them and support me on Patreon as well, I certainly won't stop you. Just head on over to urban-astronomer.com, click the Patreon links, and that'll get you started. Of course, if you're hearing this for the very first time, well then please ignore everything I just said. Just do us both a favor and head on over to the Urban Astronomer website on the 2nd of July and click on the podcast link. I'm sure you'll like what you hear, and if I'm right about that, then you can either subscribe using one of the many subscribe links, or make a note in your calendar just to remember to find each episode as they are launched. Anyway, that's enough from me. I've got a series to finish putting together, so remember, 2nd July, new season launches. See you there, and clear skies.